meaning Outworld's biggest fan. Here's your look at the Diamond Select Mortal Kombat Kitana Gallery Diorama statue. Kitana is a 10,000-year-old assassin and princess of Outworld. Shao Kahn married Kitana's mother and raised Kitana as his loyal heir, concealing the truth that he murdered her father to conquer Edenia. Now that the truth is out, Kitana is on a quest to avenge her father's name. This gallery diorama of Kitana is based on her appearance in the video game Mortal Kombat 2, is made of high-grade PVC, and features collectible quality paint applications. Before we fall by fatality at the blades of Kitana's fans, how about the first thing we do is thank the folks over at Diamond Select, who in fact did provide this sample of the Mortal Kombat 2 Kitana gallery statue that we can have a look at in this review. Boy, that would put a bit of a damper in my day to have to call in work. Sorry, I can't come in today. I've been dealt a brutal fatality. Can you at least come in tomorrow? Well, my head's been cut right off. Well, how have you been making this call in the first place? Kitana, nonetheless, stands 9 inches in height, or she's about 23 centimeters tall. Being the fact that the statue is comprised of PVC plastic, after all, it benefits in 2 ways. It benefits the company of Diamond Select by producing these statues at a more affordable cost, and ergo, it also means that collectors that are looking to pick up Kitana for themselves and add it to their shelf space will be picking it up at a much more affordable price point than if the statue was produced by resin. I'll go ahead now and pick up the statue, which would be a lot, certainly heavier if this was comprised of resin, but it's not. And I'm glad that they continue to churn out some really stellar looking statues, all by PVC plastic. Getting a look not necessarily at Kitana's footwear, although if you would like to look at her footwear, you certainly can. But it's more so just to draw your attention to the display stand that she's standing on top of. And while she's permanently attached there, you won't be able to remove her. My guess is the terrain is something from Mortal Kombat. Gee, do you think? Perhaps it's from Outworld. I'm not really even sure. I mean, it's just a rocky terrain. There seems to be one fallen little plank of wood. And there's also what looks to be like some moss and leaves off to the side, just by the rock facing here. It's pretty simple, and to be fair, though, it doesn't compete with the colors of the rest of the brighter blues that they've used for Kitana here. So I actually do like the fact that they kept the colors really grounded and rooted, no pun intended, with the more just earth tones, like the grays, the browns, and some additional washing. I'm going to spin this around also so you guys can see it from all the sides. Really, really good looking work from Diamond Select. Of course, on the underside of the display stand, I don't know why I continue to draw the attention to the bottom of the base, but it's just to more show you that it's been molded in a press. And of course, the underside of the display base is empty and hollow. But it is a really nice, simple looking display stand, effective, and of course ties into the idea that she's in a tournament after all. It doesn't have to necessarily, again, be Outworld. It could be any one of the level maps that she's on. Again, a really simple looking display stand, but effective in the way that they produced it. As for, though, the head sculpt of Kitana, it's a pretty nice looking likeness. Whether you prefer your Kitana from Mortal Kombat 2, my personal favorite of the Mortal Kombat series just because I played so much of it in high school, or if you prefer Kitana's look later on in the series, it still sticks to a lot of the checked off boxes of what Kitana would be. The mouth mask, of course, covering off her face. She's worried about germs as well, just as much as the rest of us. And of course, she's got the bandana there on top of her head. She's a pretty looking head for what little you see of it. The eyes are well painted, given a little bit of eyeshadow above there. There also seemed to be just a little bit of reflection off to the corners of the eyes there as well to give the face a little life and personality. I do like the way they flowed the hair off to the side as well. We're going to go ahead and spin this around to the back so you can see. It doesn't look as if they've added any additional coloring. It kept more so, I guess, just to the shinier black. And that's fine. I don't think they needed to add necessarily any blue highlights. Sometimes you add too much of it. It really does compete and take away from the look of the statue. I do also like the pose that they put her in as well. She's got both the fans fanned out. They're not sharp to the touch. We should really stop joking about that. One thing I did notice, though, taking the statue out of the box, was that this fan right here was loose. In fact, I can take it right off completely. It is also one thing beneficial, on my part at least, to be able to show you guys that the fan was separate like this, that these would, of course, be molded separately, likely painted separately. And then when they attached them, they attached it by mild adhesive. You can kind of see where that lines up, and it basically sits. I want to make sure I've got this facing the right way. Basically fits inside of her hand. Now, if you did pick the statue up for yourself, you're not likely going to be doing the same thing. It's just more so just the fact that I I guess it's beneficial from me, at least, that the fan was fallen off of the figure, just to show you that it does attach back in place. It has no problem necessarily where it's necessarily broken. Like the fingers are still intact. Nice sculpt also on the suit itself. Not only have they painted it well, drawing not too much attention in certain areas, not only have they painted it well, but you can also see there's sort of a basket woven texturing that they've done to the surface of the costuming. The costume itself is still kept to the same blue as the mask and bandana. There is some darker patches that they've added also in there as well, a nice darker wash. And of course, you've got the outline down below, outline basically where the suit would have her limbs sticking out, like the arms and the legs down below there. And of course, the little sash belt also mirrors that same coloring of black as well. It is a really, again, nice, pretty looking statue. So deadly, certainly Kitana would be. It's one of my favorite characters to play in the original Mortal Kombat 2 game. So really having now this statue in hand is a really nice looking statue. Even like the skin tone that they've also used as well. Again, not drawing too much attention in certain areas. The coloring is really good on this. I do like, first of all, the skin tone that they decided to settle on, but then they've also added a darker color that doesn't, it also complements nicely the skin tone. And it isn't too dark. It's not too competitive in the way that they've used the darker colors. It is, like I said, a really, really nice looking statue. The benefit of this one also as well is even though her one arm, this arm right here is extended out. It's not taking that much more real estate space than really the footprint of the display base. It sticks out just a little bit, but not to the point that if you're putting this on your shelf, for example, you really only need like this much space to work with. If her both arms were extended out, then it would be asking much more of the collector when you do pick this statue up for yourself. I do kind of like the idea that they've, in this case, had the one arm just off to the side, sort of parallel to her leg and her body. And then it's only really the one arm that's extended out. Again, doesn't take up much real estate space. And it has something a little bit different when you're looking at it as well, that the arms are posed in different ways. And it really does look like she's coming over right now to cut off your head. Bit of a damper of your day to have to call into work. Yeah, I can't come into work right now. Brutal fatality. Maybe I can come in next week. That's providing they can sew my head back on. A really nice looking statue, whether you are a big fan of the Mortal Kombat 2 Kitana, or just really Kitana across all the Mortal Kombat series. She's a really nice looking statue. And again, being the fact that she is also made of PVC plastic, it makes for a very affordable, yet still very nice and pretty looking statue that you can put on your shelf. Now, I don't know if Diamond has any plans to re-release this statue outside of the realm. I just realized what I said there. Outside of the realm, of course, the one that we looked at in this review. But, you know, considering it's Mortal Kombat territory, what goes along with the territory of Mortal Kombat, blood and brutality? Why not re-release this one down the road as a fatality version of Kitana, keeping really still the same mold that we looked at in this review, because I wouldn't change anything about this, but certainly adding some much appreciated blood on the ends of the blades of her fans, splatter some blood across her costume, and hey, why not? Throw in a limb or two on the bottom display stand that she's standing on top of. And I think you've got yourself an instant winner. Even though already now having this one in my collection, I would definitely be down to the idea of picking up a fatality version of Kitana. Make that happen, Diamond Select. One thing I did mention, or not so much mentioned in this review, I certainly will talk about it a little bit right now. I do like also the flow of this statue, how she's got the one leg leaning forward, putting all the strength on the one leg in front of her, and then she's got the one leg behind her. This statue has a lot of energy. It's got a lot of movement to it. Even though she's staction, she's not really going anywhere at all, but I do like at least that they've actually put her in a pose. While I'm all for the idea of statues sometimes just standing there. I mean, their statues are good when they're just standing, but when you put them in at least a posture or pose, or at least in this case, having Kitana looking like she's lunging forward to swing her fan in one of her hands, that's when you've got a lot of energy going here for the statue, and I think that's one of the things that make this statue so successful. I do hope, though, down the road, fatality Kitana. In the meantime, though, I would certainly like to thank the folks over at Diamond Select that did make this review possible by sending over the Mortal Kombat 2 Kitana PVC gallery statue that we could have a look at in this review, which should be available right now, by the way, in your specialty stores, in your comic book stores, and online, depending, of course, where you decide to pick up a lot of your statues from. I would certainly also always recommend that you try to pick up things from your local comic book stores. Support your local comic book stores if you can. And also, if you are new to this channel, you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, if you haven't already done so, you can also hit that subscribe button down below. I went for a dramatic pause. You can also turn on the bell notification, and you can also come back on a regular basis. Well, of course, we have wrapped up the review for the Mortal Kombat 2 Kitana. There is definitely going to be a lot more Diamond Select stuff coming your way. So as always, make sure you're keeping your peepers while they're still in the sockets of your face, or they've rolled onto the ground because you've been battling Kitana. I can't come into work today. Brutal fatality. Maybe I can come in, I don't know, next week after that. It's going to take a little bit of healing. Of course, I'm going to have to stitch my head back onto my neck. Okay, I can come in next Wednesday. But I'm going to have to be light work duties. Definitely going to be a lot more coming your way, guys. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.